Hello, viewers. I'm Simon Preston, and welcome to Reggae Boys Commentary. Yes, here we go. So, the Premier League has started. Well, it started last week, Friday, where we saw that result of Brentford defeating Arsenal by 2-0, and Ethan Pinnock assisting the first goal of the 2021-2022 Premier League season. At some point, that is going to be a trivia question someday, don't you think? It's just an interesting one, really, how things unfold in that sort of manner. And clean sheet, and it was a scenario which got them 3 points. And in terms of their last result that they had, being Brentford, they drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace. So as it stands right now, Brentford are sixth in the Premier League, 4 points after 2 games, 2 clean sheets. What more could you ask for there? Well, I'm sure they're a bit disappointed. They'll look at it as 2 points dropped against Crystal Palace. But one of the standouts from those 2 games has been Jamaican international Ethan Pinnock. And before we look at where exactly he plays for Brentford, I want us to have a look at how he played for Jamaica on his debut. Let me just bring up some of the graphics for you to give you a perspective of where he played for Jamaica on his debut, because where he played for Jamaica on his debut is not usually where he plays when he plays for Brentford. So I'm going to show you right now that situation. So Jamaica went into this game against the United States with a 4-2-3-1 formation. Jaden White in net, Amar Bell left back, Mariapa right back, Hector and Kevon Isaacs as the deep holding midfielders, Casey Palmer, Ricardo Morris, Jamal Lowe. Up top was Andre Gray. In central defence, you had Liam Moore and Ethan Pinnock. So it was a back four. It was a back four that was used. And Pinnock, he didn't have his best game in the world, and neither did he have his worst game in the world either. He made a few defensive clearances, but there were a couple of occasions where the Americans got past him. And it begs the question, why didn't he look comfortable? Why didn't he look settled? Why didn't an established English championship at the time central defender look a bit more seasoned in this game? Now, I can speak from experience being a defender and say that it's different. You can't just say that you're a centre half. A back four and a back five, and depending on that back five, are two different components. So, having said that, where does Ethan Pinnock play for Brentford? Well, for that, we're going to look at another graphic. And I want you to look exactly where he plays. This is where he plays for Brentford. So, as you can see on your screen, this is how it looks. So Raya is in net, Janssen, Ayer. So Brentford plays a 3-5-2 formation. 3 central defenders. Of course, you have the wing backs of Rico Henry and Sergi Canos, Janlet, Onika, Norgard in midfield, Ivan Toney and Mbuemo up top. So Pinnock plays the left-hand side of central defence. And this was so pivotal to Brentford last season, as they were able to keep a record number of clean sheets, went a record number of minutes without conceding, and they were quite sturdy defensively. And Pinnock was so critical to this. It gave him time. He was able to drive forward with possession. He was able to win aerial duels sometimes, and was able to link up quite well with the left wing back Rico Henry on certain occasions. Ethan Pinnock, so comfortable in this zone. So comfortable. He has that time, that space, that freedom to maneuver. And he can read tackles. He can be able to make interceptions in these sorts of areas quite well. He thrives in a back three or back five. However you want to look at it, this is where he dominates. Now, just for argument's sake, let's say that it was a back four that he played in, yeah? push Janssen into central defensive midfield there and see what happens. You see, when it is a back four, although you will still have Rika Henry moving forward or Canos being able to push forward, Pinnock doesn't have that same level of freedom to maneuver the way that he wants. So you see exactly that when you're playing a player, when it comes over to international football, you have to play him in his most natural position. We don't have a lot of time already because he is already in a situation where he's traveling, recovering, one training session, and then it's game day. So when Ethan Pinnock takes the field for Jamaica, he is going to need to be settled. Another graphic I'm going to show for you guys. So this that I put in on my screen, it wouldn't be able to work. It wouldn't. Pinnock and more, a back four. If you're going to play Ethan Pinnock, ensure that it is a back five. So if we're playing Ethan Pinnock, it looks something like this. Pinnock needs, if he's going to play for Jamaica and start for Jamaica, he's going to have to play on the left-hand side of a back three or back five, however you want to look at it. It cannot be a scenario where it is a back four. If you want to get the absolute best out of Ethan Pinnock, you ensure that he's on the left-hand side of a back three. He can link up with Taxi. He can assist DJ Daniel Johnson in the tackles. He can win the aerial battles. He needs to be in his comfort zone here. I'm not saying that he can never, ever, 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 ever play in a back four. But we have no time for experimentation, no time for errors, no time to make mistakes. This is the time. This is the time where everything has to fall into place. This is the time where we need absolutely everybody singing from the same hymn sheet. This is the moment where we need to get everybody on the same page. This is the moment where we need to ensure that everybody is stable. In case of injury and in case of a lack of depth, that's the only reason I would say play a man out of position. That's the only time. That's the only time. Or depending on the opposition's weakness, those are the only two situations that I would force. So Reggae Boys fans, how do you break down all of this? How do you process this information? Do you look at it from a scenario of okay? Or do you look at it from a scenario of, okay, if we're not going to go with a back five, then Ethan Pinnock shouldn't play? Because I personally think if we're going to go with a back four, if we're going to go 4-3-3, no Pinnock. If we're going to go with a back three, Ethan Pinnock plays for Jamaica every day of the week. What says you, Reggae Boys fans? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary. Take care, lads.